Hi, Oscar. Thanks for joining me. Can you introduce yourself to the Informs membership?
Hello, Cara. My name is Oscar Rincón. I'm a PhD candidate in industrial engineering at Purdue University. And this is going to be my last semester in here.
Great. Can you tell me how long you've been an Informs member?
I've been an Informs member since 2016, when I was very early on my PhD. I've been involved with Informs in different events. I started getting involved in uh, different seminars and industry events, industry tours. And then as time went by, I became involved with the board and I became the president in 2018. And this has given me the chance to get to connect to different people from academia and industry.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into the field of OR before your PhD?
Yeah, so I did my undergrad in industrial engineering in Universidad Nacional de Colombia in the Bogota campus. And when I was taking my undergrad courses, I took this course in operations research and another one in supply chain and logistics. And this professor, his name is Wilson Adarme. He was the instructor for these courses. And when I took his courses, he really kind of sell me the idea that this is something that it's very important. And I got captivated by the applications that we can have using mathematical modeling and statistics and different things. And I approached to him and he saw my interest and he invited me to his research group. And then I participated in different projects. And then that's how I got to here.
Is that typical for undergraduate studies to be included in research groups like that? That seems like a big deal.
At the time, his research group was smaller. In fact, I was probably his second student or something. He was
cool.
just getting started with that research group, and it's not as common as it is now. So back then the undergrad research from Colombia, it was not very popular, but now it's growing. So the kind of the NSF version of Colombia, which is called Ciencias, or the Ministry of Science and Technology. Mm-hmm. It's trying to enhance that part of developing research and science in the country. So they are putting resources into that, and they are encouraging young investigators, researchers to approach and to be part of this kind of this environment of research.
Yeah, that's great. So what advice do you have for these young researchers entering the field of OR, they're young students?
So if you are an undergrad and if you want to get into this field, you would like to first get your basics done and learn them correctly. So meaning that you should learn about coding, formalize your thoughts, take your OR courses. If you want to take some statistics courses as well, that will be very important. Learn how to speak as well. That's very important to communicate all of these concepts. Mm-hmm. And on another side, also take courses outside of your own field, meaning that you can go and take courses in biology. You can take courses in architecture if you want. That will pop up some ideas for you. Mm-hmm. That can enhance your background, and you can come up with very interesting ideas. So I would say it's a combination of those two. And the same goes for graduate students as well.
Great. That's great advice. What are your thoughts on even younger students looking at high school? How could we promote analytics and OR careers for high school students?
So I think high school students, they are trying to look for very engaging content. Mm-hmm. And one way to do it is through social media, and that's what they use the most. And the idea will be to create tailored content for them that involves analytics, explaining what are the the main core concepts and how they can use them in real life. For that, we can include graduate and undergrad students from analytical fields, plus people from the liberal arts and communication schools to create this content and really tailor this content to these high school students. So I think that will create a very engaging content for them.
Yeah, thank you. What are your thoughts on industry versus academia careers? Have you noticed any trends right now as you're applying for jobs?
Yes, I'm applying to both for industry and academia. So far, I've seen that industry in some areas is moving faster, especially uh, in in positions that are related to data science. There are like several openings across the board that are open. I think there needs to be more people graduating from that area as well to fill those positions. On the academia side, uh, it's going slower than I expected. I guess it might be due to the impact of the pandemic, but I'm actively interviewing for both. But those are kind of like the trends that I see so far.
Thank you and good luck. Do you think it's also a combination of just the data science boom right now? That seems to be, at one time analytics was the buzzword, and now I feel like data science is the buzzword. So do you think it could be a combination of the rise of that plus the pandemic?
I think so, because a lot of the things that are happening right now is um, there is an increase in services in one side. So, and the increase in services will require people that will be able to analyze this data to get insights from that and use these algorithms to do that. And since now people are doing that interaction even more because of the pandemic, then you see that also you can see this happening in the field of logistics and supply chain. So let's say you need to you have like online retailers. How do you deliver those products? So you need more people that plan those kind of things. So that's another point on that. And that's why I think the pandemic, even though we have this data science going on from before, is even further emphasized because of the pandemic.
Yeah. What has been your favorite Informs experience so far?
I would say, so I was the Informs president in 2018.
Of the student chapter?
Of the Purdue student chapter here.
Purdue, yeah.
So, and that gave me the opportunity to learn from, that gave me the opportunity to gain different skills. One, time management, leadership, communication, collaboration with other student chapters as well, and that are within Purdue. So it was a great experience because I learned a lot. It's also a lot of work too. So more than you will expect, but it's very fulfilling experience because you get this feeling that you are contributing to something. So I think that's what I find it very, very fulfilling.
Thank you. You also served as a facilitator during the virtual 2020 annual meeting. Can you talk a little bit about this experience and what you learned from it?
Yeah, so first of all, I think the Informs made like a great job putting together this conference. I think it was because we started, so like it basically was a year ago that the pandemic started, and then the conference, the deadlines for the conference were like very soon after like that, and then it was that transformation that I think was very, very good. And yeah, as a facilitator, I led two different tables. One was the complex systems tables, and the other one was the manufacturing and supply chain management table. And I see it more as a starting point for a conversation. So you can do your icebreaker in there and you start talking about the different topics, and then you end up talking about life and how to do research, and you end up doing friends. That's what this is about, and I think that's a very interesting experience. You also learn from other people that have been in the field for longer than you, and I find that insightful. See what are their career paths in both in industry and academia. I think that's also good.
Great. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thank you for volunteering for that. Can you give us some pros and cons of virtual versus in-person conferences, since you were part of the virtual 2020 annual meeting, and I know you've gone to the in-person annual meetings before as well?
So I would say a pro is not having to run from the conference center from one room to another room within 5 minutes, or you have concurrent things that you can assist.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pro. You also have the video recording of the conferences as well, just so you can check them out later if you are not able to go or be for the Q&A. That's also good. One of the cons that I will say is the in-person experience with the capability of mingling with people, eating the same table, and
free food.
great food. Yeah, of course. That's one thing. And the other thing is as you have your, so in the in-person meeting, I'm the type of speaker that likes to see how people react to your presentation. Yeah, so looking at their body language and see if the concept that you are giving is understood. So I find that kind of difficult to do in a virtual conference. So that's probably one of the cons that I would say, even though you have the time for the Q&A, but yeah.
Yeah. So if there was a possible way to do your virtual presentation live where you could see the attendees, would that be helpful, or would that just be distracting? Because there would be so many little people on your screen. Would you even be able to see their reactions enough to, switch up your presentation if necessary? Do you think there's any way to do that virtually?
I think it will require the kind of like the collaboration from people to do that. It doesn't have to be everyone. Maybe 5 or 6 people that have their camera open, and to see like if they agree to, of course, like you have to ask them.
Right.
To see how they react to your presentation. I think that will be helpful in general, but most of the people, or at least in the experience that I have, they have their camera turned off, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. What's a hobby or a passion you have outside of your research?
So I like going to the exterior. I like biking. So I go to so I go over the trails here in West Lafayette. So we have a system of trails that is very nice. I like to spend maybe an hour when the weather allows, of course, to go around and see nature, be in the exterior, breathe some good air. I like to do that. That's kind of like my hobby over the summer. Well, and also like in the spring, because weather is getting better now. So
yeah, I'm really happy about that. Have you had a chance to read any interesting books this year outside of any research?
Yeah,
I know you're probably very busy.
A little bit busy, but so like I have this friend, Sumbung, that graduated last year here from Purdue, and he recommended me this book that is called Algorithms to Live By. I know it's very similar to what we do, but it's basically, it's kind of like a digested, it's a digested concept in how you can use the concepts of that computer scientists or people that work in OR can use for their lives, for decision making. So it's something that simplifies your life. And this book talks about elements of game theory. How can you use it in your life? How much you should wait for something as well. So that's very interesting, and it's written in a very understandable way. So I think it's open to everyone that wants to read it.
So that was your light reading from the past year.
I mean,
that was your reading for fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's I really like this topic, and this is something that is not related to research, but something that I would like to see. I think as a noir person, I'm trying to see how can I use all of these things in my life as well. So.
Yeah, yeah. If you could have dinner with one famous person from history, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Um, I would say Leonardo da Vinci. I think that's one of the things that I would like to, because as the way that I see it, he integrated multiple things. He integrated biology with engineering, with arts. And so like from my point of view, he's also like a systems guy, and I would like to pick his brain. Like, hey, well, like, how did you came up with this idea? And
Yeah,
I think that would be very interesting for me.
cool. What is your idea of comfort food?
So in my country, we have a food that is called arepas. So these arepas are made of uh, it's kind of like a corn dough,
Yeah,
so that you making is more like uh, I don't know, like it's like a coin, but it's like a big coin.
yeah, I've seen them before. What are they
So
filled with? Meat
so
or beans?
it
Or...
depends in totally like with what you want. So you can put cheese on that. Some people will put an egg and they fry it. That's very interesting. You can also make them baked, or you can make it on the pan
Mm-hmm.
as well. You can accompany them with meat if you want, and there are like different kinds of arepas as well. So there is the Colombian arepa and there is the Venezuelan arepa.
Oh,
So like the Colombian arepa is oh, my light went down.
that's okay.
So Colombian arepa it's a bit lighter, but the Venezuelan arepa is a bit more. It's more like a main meal, I will say. So you can fill that one with meat. You can have a preparation with beans as well. It's totally up to you what you want to do, but it's very flexible, and it's some sort of comfort food that I learned to do over the pandemic because I didn't know how to make them.
Yeah, so you can make them now?
Yes.
Great. So speaking of the pandemic, did you binge watch any television? I know we all did. So if you did, what was the favorite thing that you watched?
So I watch two things that I will say that I like the most, like the Mandalorian season 2.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fan of Star Wars, and it was good. I like it.
Yes. You're
I
not the
like
only one.
it. And then the other one that I watch, The Good Place season 4.
Oh, yeah. That's
So
good.
because I watched the other 3 seasons and I didn't get to see the final season, I was like, I need to watch this, and then I made some time, and then I just been watched the whole thing.
Yeah. I have to catch up on that one. I haven't watched the final season yet either. But that's a good one. It's a good one to forget about what's going on for a little while
Yeah, I
in
mean,
your
it
world.
takes place in a whole different world, and then
Mhm.
and then I don't know, like it changes from across the season. So it starts very philosophical, but then
Mhm.
as the seasons go further along the line, it has kind of like that element at the core, but it's not that much about learning about the philosophy, but becoming a better person. That's kind of like the overall theme at the end of the across the whole board. So like all of them are trying to become better persons.
Mhm.
So that's I think that's kind of interesting. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you, Oscar.